Hey everybody, it's Jerry from Bullshit Corner, and today's video we're working on my 2003 Jeep TJ. The other day I was driving it home. I started to smell the brakes burning. Every time I went to brake the Jeep would pull over to the side, like instantly jerk over, had to correct steer it back. So I knew obviously at that point there was something wrong with the brakes. When I got the Jeep home, I took my temperature probe, and one brake rotor was reading 40 degrees Celsius. The other brake rotors were reading 140 degrees Celsius. So the caliper on the driver's side is the one that's sticking. So we're going to inspect that, check it out. But a guy posted on my link, Manic Mechanic 007, said many times he's changed out a caliper and it turned out to be an internal blockage in the line. So we're going to inspect and check out that as well. So let's get to work. Now on the brake caliper, there's one bolt here you got to remove. And then there's another one on the bottom, right here where my thumb is. Or right here where my finger is, and then your brake line right here. We're going to crack this brake line first, make sure that's loose, and then remove those two bolts and remove the caliper. So to crack open the brake line, it's a 14 mil. There we go. We got it cracked right now, so I'm going to pull that out. So two brake caliper bolts are 13 mil, and they're easily removed. I got to get something to tap that cocksucker off now. Like a hammer. So here I got the caliper off the Jeep, and it fucking stinks. It stinks to high hell. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this caliper spreader in here, and I'm going to see if I can open it up. Alright, you might not be able to see that too well. That's the metal line, metal brake line. This is your rubber line. What I did is I removed that, and I squirted it with air to see if there's any blockage in that line. And that line seems to be good, so I'm going to attach that piece back up. Well, I squeezed the caliper back in, and you can see inside there, excuse me, I got a cold, there's so much shit in there, like it looks like, almost like mud, or really dirty brake fluid or something. It's really disgusting, but I think I'm just going to swap this one out. It's 37 bucks with the core exchange. Instead of fucking around with it, it fucking reeks like hell. So I throw it in a bag and take it off to the store. Alright, I just ran down to the parts store, grabbed a new caliper. With exchange, it was 38 bucks. Got two new bolts and two new copper crush washers. We're going to install this right now. And then also got 1 liter of brake fluid to bleed it. Hopefully that should be enough. Got the old brake pads put back in. Probably going to exchange them later on for some ceramic pads and probably drilled rotors or something. But for right now, we're just going to use these. Most people will figure this out, but your brakes actually fit in a groove here, so when you put the caliper back on, drop the bottom end first in those grooves, and then tilt the caliper forward and it'll snap into place, and then reattach your two bolts at the rear, down there and right there, and then we're going to attach the brake line with one copper washer on the end, and then the brake line to another copper washer on each side. Now you can see on your brake line there's a little notch in it, and that notch has to go where the other notch is, and that prevents your brake line from moving around. You can see it right there. And then tighten her down, and that part's done. Alright, that bitch is back in there. Next thing we're going to do is bleed the brakes. I'm going to do a brake bleeding on a separate video. I'm going to try this gravity feed that everybody's talking about, or gravity bleed, I don't know what the fuck it is, but we're going to try that. So right now I'm just going to fill it up, pump the brakes, and then start on the next video. Well, I got the caliper replaced and everything is back together. The brakes work good even though they were burnt pretty bad on that one side. I am going to change them out when I start rebuilding the front end, hopefully within 2 to 3 months when I start the next phase of the project. If everything goes well, I need to sell my boat first so I can afford to get new gears, new lockers, brakes, everything to finish the Jeep. But to replace the calipers, pretty straightforward. Manic Mechanic 007 said before it could be an internal blockage in the hose. That very well could have been. I blew the hose out with air and I pumped brake fluid through it. It seems to flow alright for now. I'm going to keep my eye on it. Those brake lines are actually going to be changed out. The factory ones are going to put stainless steel brake lines on it. So that's one of the jobs I'm going to be doing in the near future. So if you have any other comments, questions, post them below. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and keep an eye on your brakes. You never know when you might need them and you don't have them.